The National Music Council is an umbrella organization of 40 other of the largest music organizations in the country. We were founded in 1940 and chartered by Congress in 1956 to bring all of the different areas of the music industry together to come to talk about issues that affect everybody. So music education and the importance of music education, we're all school children, is something that we advocate for a lot. Protecting creators' rights and making sure that people that create the music are compensated for their work.
Sure.
And we lobby in Washington, we advocate locally, and it's a way for all the different parts of the music industry to come together and have one voice for these really important issues. Tonight is the American Eagle Awards. It's our annual award. We've been giving this honor out for the last 35 years to people and organizations that have contributed greatly to the music culture of our nation. So we give awards to a lot of very famous people, but we've also honored educators and we've honored organizations that support music greatly. So this year, we're honoring the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum for all of their great education work that brings music education to kids, not just all over this area, but online all over the world. And George Clinton for his incredible, you may have heard of him, for his invention of funk music and his influence on generations of musicians, and the late Vince Guaraldi, whose music brought jazz to millions and millions and millions of people and people young at heart through his work with the Peanuts.
What is your first memory of being inspired by music?
I didn't play till I was 18, but 1956, hearing Tennessee Ernie Ford's version of the Merle Travis tune, 16 Tons.
Whoa.
I would have it, I heard it on a car radio, and I just had it in my head, and I said to my mom, could you buy that record? One day, I was at the record store with my friend. He brought this record up to me. This band has organ. I said, oh, okay, I'll get it. And I went home, put it on, and I said, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. I got to get an organ and play in a band. I was 18, and it was the Doors' first album.
Oh, nice.
I said, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Wow.
I mean, along with the Vince Guaraldi, Charlie Brown Christmas album. Those albums both, it was like it was one song with 11 parts.
Wow.
The albums were just so cohesive. And later when I started doing records, those were my models and inspiration. I want to stay within a feeling and one theme.
Probably seeing my dad playing behind the pulpit. He's a preacher and always small churches, you know. And he played guitar since he was a kid and sang and wrote his own gospel songs. I think when you're 4 or 5 years old, you see your dad up there and he's leading the music. You're like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, he's singing and they're following along. Probably that. And then he turned me on to, you know, off an old record player and 8 tracks and stuff like that. Some of the earliest stuff I heard was like Roger Miller, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Johnny Cash. My mind was kind of blown by some of those lyrics and really inspired me to do what I'm doing today.
Nice.
Wow. 1956. Why do fools fall in love? Saying so gay, and lovers away to break of day. Why do they fall in love? I heard that on my way to school the other day. What the heck? My father said, get yourself, get out and go to school. And I knew I got back upside the head for knowing I ain't got no business stopping. Listening to no music on my way out to school, but it froze me. It was that one and Maybelline, those two. Wow. It was like, wow. And I was 13 years old. From then on, I don't think I ever turned 80. I mean, I went to school, but the teachers knew it. Let him, he gonna do that.
You know, the National Music Council is making sure that music is historically preserved. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really important in our country. I mean, I think about America, man, we created rock and roll, country music. We created all this stuff. And to have it archived and to make sure that all the new artists and artists in the future can go back and listen to the greats is vitally important. It's as important for a musician as it would be for any citizen to know that George Washington was the first president, you know. So to have that and be able to compare yourself not only to your contemporaries but to the greatest of all time and know what the greats are, I think that's what the council's doing, that they are preserving all that so that all of us have that at our fingertips.
Well, it acknowledges great contributors and great composers like Vince Guaraldi is being honored tonight. And Vince Guaraldi's music is much better known than his name. almost everybody will remember where they were first when they heard Linus and Lucy the first time on the Charlie Brown Christmas episode. If they heard Cast Your Fate to the Wind or Christmas Time is Here, but they don't necessarily know it's Vince Guaraldi. It's an unusual situation for somebody's music to be better known than their name. So it's great to get the name recognition, not only for the family, for Vince Guaraldi, and others, but so that people have more access to, explore their music.
Sure.
I mean, it help us get the music education that's needed to go along with all of this other stuff we do to make music, creative arts we do to make music. It's good to have somebody on your behalf trying to get the information of the education of music, especially getting back to schools and shit.
Right, yeah.
Because when I grew up, everybody had a little case of something they were taking to school for music, and music is the language you can communicate with.
Yeah.
So it's very important that this always stay in existence.
The Country Music Hall of Fame is that's the ultimate goal, I guess, for any country entertainer, would be to be in the Hall of Fame. And if you've never been to it, you got to walk through it because it is so expertly done. And the history of all these greats that made this town what it is, it's inspiring to guys like me to still walk through there and see what has happened before myself. And yes, at the end of the day, you hope, man, if I'm lucky enough, if they think my music's important enough, maybe I'll have a shot at it.
Sure.
When you go into places like the Country Music Hall of Fame, you'll come across an artist that you don't know a lot of times. You go, oh, who's this? And you can get their CD there, or you can get it later or something. Yeah. So it's great to have that great tradition preserved. And, starting from Bristol, 1927, 1928, through now.
Wow, yeah.
So George Clinton, first of all, how many people can you say define a genre? Not many. It's a testament to a guy like that not only has he influenced a lot of people in his genre, in R&B and in soul and stuff like that, come over to guys with cowboy hats like me. Listen, I could play you four on the floor like this and go, flashlight, and we're coming to your city. Save a horse rider. We want the funk. Gotta have that. Save a horse rider, cowboy. It's the same pocket. And I love his stuff, man. We blast it on the bus even now before we go out on stage. He stands out like the Hall of Famers we were talking about at the Country Music Hall of Fame. He, in his writing and his part of music, he is as iconic as it gets. Yeah. And I'm excited to be able to bring him out tonight.